Imam Hussein's head was brought to Yazid, he hit it with a stick.
According to authentic hadith?
Authentic hadith, authentically transmitted. History. When he did history as well. When he hit the head, he said, today Hussein, I have got revenge for what your forefather did to my forefather on the day of Badr and Uhud.
Now who was Yazid's forefather?
Who's Yazid's forefather? Abu Sufyan. Who's Imam Hussein's forefather?
Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So he's
saying...
Hold on, no, wait. Run that by me.
Content over everything! There's an angel that put his finger in their anus.
Okay. I've heard people quote this kind of stuff. Okay. You know with the thing with traditions, with hadith, there's no doubt with traditions. There's no doubt with traditions. We're always going to have traditions that are sahih and fabricated. It's always going to exist. This problem doesn't only occur in Sunni Islam. To say it occurs only in Sunni Islam is being biased. The concept of fabricated traditions exists everywhere, across the border. So I've heard people quoting this. I had to research it myself. By intellect, it's enough for me to reject it by intellect that even if it is transmitted, it's... How can that be true?
Even if it's sahih.
Because we have a principle that says that any tradition that goes explicitly against the Quran, and to a level even against, so if you have a tradition that's mass transmitted, and you have another tradition, so you've got one tradition that's been narrated by so many people, and you've got another tradition that's narrated by a couple of people. If one is obviously saying one thing the other, we will reject the one that's narrated by one person in favor of the one that's narrated by many. So if the Quran and the traditions are saying not stuff against this, we're going to say this one tradition that you bring, we're going to say, okay, there's no need for this. So even if you quote it to me, if it's Sahih chain or whatever, we'll just literally, we have no issue saying that kind of stuff. We don't say, oh, it's Sahih, we have to accept it. We say, listen, this goes against the basic aspects of the Quran, the basic aspects of the mass transmitted Sunnah, as well as intellect. This goes against it. If it's, I've already read this, I've heard about this, people have mentioned it to me once, 2 times before, but okay, this is something that, what can I say about this tradition? What can I say about it?
Yeah, this is where I usually kind of like get perplexed, yeah?
I'm with you.
Because basically, you can pick and choose what to accept based on, even though if they are all sahih, you kind of pick and choose.
I'm with you.
And it kind of like,
you feel like there's
not straightforward for me.
No,
yeah?
let me answer. You know with the traditions, like there's no doubt sometimes you'll get conflicting traditions. You'll have one tradition narrated this way, one tradition narrated that way, and they might be saying the opposite things. This is why we look at the chains and we say, look, if one tradition has been transmitted massively, meaning let's just say you've got 30 people saying the same thing.
Right.
And then you've got one other tradition narrated by one person.
Yeah.
Even if that one tradition has a Sahih chain, we'll say, listen, the mass majority of people are saying one thing. And the one guy saying the one, we'll say that's enough for it to be rejected. It's a science. The scholars use this because it does exist. Sometimes you get 2 chains that say similar things, opposite things, and the chain is Sahih for both.
Yeah.
So the scholars will try and reinterpret them and say, look, let's try and make them not conflict. But if they can't do that, they'll say rejected. Especially if it goes, and the basic principle is any tradition that goes against the Quran. Imam Ja'far Sadiq alayhi salam, one of the principles of what in our tradition says, any tradition that goes against the Quran, throw it against the wall.
So,
do you see what he said? He said throw it against the wall.
I get that. But so the point is, how can this narration, I don't know.
If it exists, I don't know. Another thing.
How can it go against the Quran?
Yeah.
That's the question I'm asking.
By naturally, the tradition that you narrate, because I don't really know the full tradition of what it says. But first we can go towards the intellect. The intellect, what does tradition say?
Well, it says that
I'll try not to laugh.
The Sunni, when there's an angel, when it's a man, they put a finger in their anus, and then when it's a woman, something like that. So they become.
I think when they're born, I think it's trying to say.
Yeah, when they are born.
So obviously, look, this is extremism lies in every sect.
Yeah.
And you can just tell by the text.
I think we should just bring the hadith out, though.
I don't even know the hadith out.
I've never heard it myself.
He's quoting from a Shia tradition. That's why you might not have heard of it. He's going from a Shia tradition. Baki, you know what it is?
Yeah.
It being narrated, you can tell by the way it's narrated by intellect. You can see that it's something that it doesn't make sense.
Yeah. Okay,
you don't need to be a genius to figure that out because it's not something does that sound Islamic to you? You can just tell. Do you understand? That's not Islam where the angel comes and the angel has nothing better to do but to astaghfirullah, do this kind of stuff. So it's something that, and it sounds like you can tell by the tradition that it's something that an extremist would have narrated. to go against. It's polemical. You can see an extreme Shia could have narrated that to go against.
Yeah.
You can see, innit?
Oh, sorry, I'm fine. Thank you. That's very kind of you. Very kind
I
of
got you, man.
you. Very kind of you.
So yeah, okay, you
Yeah.
understand what I'm saying?
Okay, fine. That's good because I understand.
You understand what I'm saying?
But yeah.
But traditions die hard, though, isn't it?
Yeah,
you get that.
Because no
I
one
was
follows
watching.
it. First of all, like in our tradition, no one knows of this.
Yeah.
No one follows it. No one even knows about it. You've got to dig deep to read that one tradition. If it was something that was known and we followed it, then you would have the point. But no one really.
But the difference is that this is not hadith that you need to follow. It's something
Is that fish, though?
But we don't believe it. But yeah, so then, we don't believe in it. We don't believe in it.
Good, yeah, that's fine.
100%. We're not that, because our school says that we use the intellect as well. If there's things that blatantly go against the Quran or blatantly goes against something that's known, we say no.
Now I have another question. Why do Shia, maybe not every Shia does that, why do they cut themselves?
Yeah, so look, with the cutting of the self,
Yeah.
the way it started with the cutting is that they do it.
Sorry.
There was another one called Eesa. Alright, cool. So it started as a tradition. So for example, after the Prophet's family martyred, not generally in some cultures, when someone dies, they agree and they hit they agree. So throughout time, what happens after Imam Hussain was martyred, the Shia started coming out in the same year and they started organising a commemoration of martyrdom. So they started saying, and it slowly became a kind of a style. So in the beginning it would have been like, what's happened? And then slowly it became culturally accepted. You see what I'm saying to you?
Yeah.
Then some people went one step further. What did they do? They went one step further. They said, this is one thing. Some people started saying, okay, I want to feel the pain. I want to feel what Imam Hussain went through. So I want to hit myself and feel the same thing that he felt through. And then they started doing that. So that's where it comes from. So a lot of scholars have done kalam on it. It's a Shia thing that people do, but don't get twisted. A lot of Shia scholars go against it as well. But it's become so mainspread and so widespread that the people do it regardless of what the scholars say.
So do you accept this from the deen or you don't accept?
Nah, it's not from the thing. No, of course. This is something that's tradition, unfortunately, that started.
Yeah.
And the Shia scholars that even say that are against it, a lot of Shias don't follow.
Yeah.
It's out of their hand, in a say.
Okay.
But the thing that we do in terms of martyrdom and we do this. This is all stuff that we accept. That to a level, this is fine. It's a form of objection to say that look, we're against what happened to the Prophet's family as a protest.
Like a protest,
You get that? Obviously, people get emotional, they get a bit high. Fair enough. But in terms of that, of course, this is.
So the next question is that do you?
And unfortunately, in Muharram, that's the only thing that's shown. In this month, rather than focusing on the Prophet's family and telling all the world about what happened to the Prophet's family, which the Sunni Shias agree on, and brother, you're Muslim, I can see by the bit, is that a lot of the Muslims, the Sunni Shia issue was never related to Imam Hussain. The Sunnis and Shias agreed on it. This is what's sad, my brother, is that people try and make it look like Muharram, Imam Hussain is a Sunni Shia, like the Sunni feels of today, like he can't come towards Imam Hussain and say Yazid's wrong. The Sunni scholars of the past, and I was saying in my old video, that other talk, that Sunni scholars of the past were against Yazid as much as we are. Okay. Example, Imam Ahmad bin Hanbal, one of the four fuqaha of the Sunnis, he done open takfir on Yazid. That Yazid's a kafir for what he done to Imam Hussain. Imam Ahmad bin Hanbal. So he was known for this position.
That's something I've got to do. I've never heard
Of course. Imam Taftazani. These are scholars who are the pillars of Sunni Islam. I'm not talking about Ibn Taymiyyah or Abdul Wahhab because I don't see them as Sunni. They're Wahhabi straight. Different story.
That's beef, bro.
That's beef. I know, but
I said that's beef. Those are people that I can't from my
But the thing is, the brothers, and no disrespect to you at all, my brother.
Yeah.
It's that people don't know that the Sunni tradition's been hijacked. So if I asked you what you are, you would say Sunni. True? In a sense.
Yeah. I'd go into it and say I'm Salafi.
Okay. But if you look at the positions of these lot, they differed a lot of things with the normal Sunni positions. So I'll give you an example. At the time of Muhammad Abdul Wahhab and Ibn Taymiyyah, in their time when they said certain things, a lot of the scholars of their time refuted them. Example, Muhammad Abdul Wahhab, the first person to refute him was his brother. Brother was a sheikh. And his father. They disagreed with him. They said, listen, what you want?
But I don't know about refutations though.
They wrote, his brother wrote a book against it. Wrote a book against it.
Refutation of what?
Of his views. This views of you can't go to the shrines, no intercession, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, okay. So basically the majority of the Ahlul Sunnah were
accept
upon
that tradition. Now you get that.
Right. And they were more you can't say traditionalists, you can't.
You can't. Right. So what I'm trying to say is that, and now even.
Well, we know that minorities and majorities are not a hujjah.
100%.
We use that agreement
We use that as well, so we agree on that.
We're in the same
That's
boat.
totally fine. So, and the same thing what my mum was saying, Sunni scholars and Shia scholars have always condemned Yazid and always considered him a bad person, and a lot of Sunni scholars have considered him a kafir as well. To my point, Imam Taftazani, there's a book by Imam Nasafi. He's got a book on beliefs. It's basically the pillar of Sunni schools. If these people aren't Sunni, then no one's Sunni. It's like that. Imam Nasafi in his book Aqaid, he's got a book on beliefs. Imam Taftazani, who's a major Sunni scholar, he does a commentary on it. It's called Shar al-Aqaid al-Nasafi. In that book, he says that Yazid's a kafir, he says openly. And he goes, the curse be upon those people who killed, the person who killed Imam Hassan, the person who was happy with it and who helped him. And then he curses Yazid and says he's a kafir as well. So the Sunni scholars and Shia scholars were agreed on this. It's later day, especially from the Salafi movement, and again, brother, it's just all into academic.
Yeah, no, because I'm from one of those people that doesn't hold Yazid to be a kafir, even whether he was athim, whether he was a sinner or not. But Ahlul Sunnah are agreed that we don't make takfir upon people based on kaba'ir.
But you see, now this is very important. You see, now, but this is very important. Now, the brothers may say something. You see,
we don't make takfir on Ahlul Qibla.
You see, what he's saying is now, is that this is exactly what I'm trying to say. You see, the normal thing in your head was that Yazid in your head is generally scholars don't do takfir, right? You would think that in your head, right?
Well, definitely contemporary now.
Contemporary,
they don't. Yeah.
But the traditional Sunni scholars of the Ashaira and the Maturidi,
right? See, we don't count them from amongst the imams.
So
a lot of them, there is a Maturidi Ash'ari following.
They're the main. If they're not Ahl Sunnah, who's Ahl Sunnah?
Ahl Sunnah, Ahmed ibn Hanbal, Al-Shafi'i, Malik.
These are all muhaddithin. Yeah, but these are what you call fuqaha.
Yeah.
I'm talking about the scholars of belief. The scholars of belief, Aqaid, were the main ones that say it. What Imam Abu al-Hasan, he's a pillar. If someone says Imam Abu al-Hasan Ash'ari is not Sunni,
but then
there's no Sunnism left. The scholars you're talking about are the specific movement of Muhammad ibn Abdul Wahhab ibn Taymiyyah. This is what I want you to understand.
But you know that the narrative is that Abu al-Hasan made taraji' from Ash'ari.
They say that.
Right.
They say that.
Came to Ibn Qudama, and Ibn Qudama was at the time of Ahmad.
If you say that, all the scholars of the Ashaira that followed, they're still there, right? Imam Nawawi, all these were Ashaira.
My next question is this.
But anyway, the point was that even some scholars from the Sunni tradition, Imam ibn Hanbal don't takfir on Yazid. So if this position was valid, Imam ibn Hanbal would know. Meaning, if this position that you don't do takfir, because the takfir on Yazid is not only for kabair. That's very important.
No.
Sorry, Waki, I've kind of hijacked your pen.
Sorry.
When Imam Hassan's head was brought to Yazid, he hit it with a stick.
According to authentic hadith?
Authentically transmitted.
History.
When he did history as well. When he hit the head, he said, today Hussein, I have got revenge for what your forefather did to my forefather on the day of Badr and Uhud.
Now, who was Yazid's forefather?
Who's Yazid's forefather? Abu Sufyan.
Abu Sufyan.
Who's Imam Hassan's forefather?
Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So he's
So
saying.
No, wait. Run that by me.
Run that by again.
Yazid's grandfather was Abu Sufyan.
Yes, and Imam Hassan's grandfather was?
The Prophet.
Yeah.
Right.
Abu Sufyan was the one who fought the Prophet Muhammad at Badr or Uhud.
Tayyib, but Abu Sufyan embraced the deen after.
It's true. But what is Yazid saying? Yazid saying today.
That doesn't. But what I'm saying is that's not a sensical. If we're drawing that conclusion, it's not sensical.
No. I think
we're saying we're getting revenge.
I get it. I'm getting revenge. Yeah. I got revenge for what your forefather did to my forefather. Yazid saying that. He's saying, Imam Hussein, you know your forefather, the Prophet, he killed my grandfather, attacked my grandfather on Badr and won the war. Today I've got revenge for him.
Okay.
So I get you saying Abu Sufyan was Muslim, no problem.
So
but
who's
Yazid,
his forefather?
Abu Sufyan is Yazid's forefather.
Right.
But Yazid saying, today I got revenge. So Yazid's not a Muslim. Yazid's saying, I don't care. That's why Yazid used to drink alcohol, and he said, if alcohol is in the same poetry, this is poetry by the way, when Imam Hassan was brought to him, he said, if alcohol is haram in the religion of Ahmed, let it be known I make it halal according to the religion of Masih, Nabi Eesa. So basically he didn't care. The point is that he didn't, if it's true, if it's accepted, if it's true. So you can see what he's trying to say is, I'm still getting revenge for Badr. If you're getting revenge on Badr, what does that mean? That means inside you're not a Muslim, are you?
Yeah, but I get that. Yeah. What I'm trying to say is it doesn't make sense that because Abu Sufyan wasn't harmed at Badr.
No, Abu Sufyan was him personally wasn't, but he was the Imam of the Mushrikeen.
That was his grandfather.
Okay, so
on Badr he got flawed, innit?
So we're drawing the conclusion that by Yazid's speech, if this hadith is true, that he's saying, I'm getting revenge for the Mushrikeen against the Muslimun.
Yes, now you get it. That's it. And it's based on that kind of stuff that scholars have done open takfir on it.
Okay.
So Imam Ahmad bin Hanbal has done takfir on him based on this as well. So these kind of things exist. So that's the tradition generally where takfir exists on that school. So a lot of so Imam Jalaluddin Suyuti, have you heard of that name?
Yeah.
He's got a book called Tariq al-Khulafa. Imam Jalaluddin Suyuti. In that book Tariq al-Khulafa, he does la'an on Yazid.
I've read the book, bro. I've got it at home in English. I ain't seen the Latin.
Okay, maybe the translation they play around sometimes. I'll get it for you.
Okay,
he done la'an on Yazid in that book.
Cool. Right.
Imam Mahmoud Alusi. Have you heard of his name? He's got a book. He's got a tafsir called Ruh al-Mani.
Right.
Famous. I mean, these are what you call without them, this is Sunni. They are the pillars of Sunnism. He does takfir on Yazid as well, in his tafsir. So the point is that nowadays the specific movement of the Salafiyah, they won't do it, but traditional Sunni scholars always did, because there wasn't a Sunni Shia issue. They agreed on this, but today it gets made into a Sunni Shia issue.
But to say
in reality, it's a Shia Salafi issue.
To say that they agreed on it would be to say that they had ijma'. And
no, but by agree I mean that they knew that Yazid is a worthless piece of person. Sunni scholars were basically.
My thing is, I don't dispute that maybe some of the Imma said that he was a sinner, or he was from the Fusaq.
But I'll give you an example.
I'll
give you an example. If someone kills the Prophet's grandson, and even if you leave that.
Yeah, but you know Yazid was not. It wasn't his hands that killed. It wasn't his hand that killed.
It's like me saying to you, George Bush didn't do anything in Baghdad, in Iraq. He's the one who sent the soldiers. It's like me saying Pharaoh's not a bad person. He didn't do anything. Pharaoh's army is the one who terrorized everyone. It's Pharaoh. The Imam gets the responsibility.
But what I'm saying is, it's
like me saying George Bush didn't do anything.
But you know that it's possible for two parties of mu'mineen to fight each other, right?
Yeah, that doesn't apply on this. I agree with what you're saying.
So how do we get away from that?
Because the way we get away from this is that exactly after he martyred him, Yazid's character came out when he said this poetry.
If it's
correctly attributed.
Do you know what it is?
Also, we're not talking about two believers, brother. We're talking about
Imam Hussain. Yeah, we're talking about Imam Hussain.
Sayyid al-Shabab al-Jannah, the leader of the paradise. The one who the Prophet said.
And by the way, but he knows that one's obviously a Sahabi in the family, and one is not even a Sahabi.
He's even a Sahabi
for you. He's not a Sahabi?
He's not.
He never saw the Prophet.
He never saw the Prophet. Do you get it? So it's a whole different
category.
And Sunni scholars have even done takfir on it.
Yeah. Wait, but that's not to say that, you know, because one's a daraja above another one, they're not both mu'min. But the amr is to fight the person who's baghi. Yeah? So
okay, I get it.
Yeah, so there's no mention of kufr for the person who's baghi in that ayah.
No, but who's the baghi in this interpretation?
So in the baghi is Yazid.
But he's the one that held the power. Imam Hussain went against him. He held the power.
So, hold on. So are you saying that Imam Hussein was the baghi?
We're not saying he's the baghi. We're saying that verse doesn't apply to Imam Hussain. He's not a baghi. Yazid was never the ruler anyway. But the point is, if someone applies that verse and says he's the ruler, then baghi, Imam Hussain can't be the baghi, can he?
Okay,
do you get it?
Let me take that back.
So the point is about Yazid is that these are all the kind of things he done. And apart from Imam Hussain, let's move forward. And this is historically narrated. In the second or after he killed Imam Hussain, in the years after, he done two more things. He attacked Makkah and Medina. When he attacked Makkah, he attacked Abdullah bin Zubair. Abdullah bin
Sahabi.
Zubair.
Wait. The person who killed Abdullah ibn Zubair, was Hajjaj.
No, so the army, Abdullah bin Zubair rebelled in Medina. In
Right,
Makkah,
so Hajjaj beheaded him.
No, so Hajjaj killed him after, but that war, it might not be Abdullah bin Zubair, but someone who rebelled against Yazid in Makkah, I'm going to check, I think it was Abdullah bin Zubair.
That was a Sahabi, you said?
I don't know if it was Sahabi, I think it was Tabi.
Okay.
And he rejected Yazid's Khilafah. He then sent an army to Makkah, and they attacked the Kaaba.
Okay, so, alright.
And one more thing, let me just say, and then Medina. Okay. When he went to Medina, he said to his soldiers, catapult the Kaaba. When he went to Medina, he said to his soldiers, I make three things, I make the whole of Medina.
You didn't know that?
He catapulted the Kaaba. He goes, I make Medina halal for you. So for 3 days, they killed and they raped women. Astaghfirullah, in Medina. And the Prophet ﷺ said, anyone who scares the residents of Medina, Allah's curse be upon him.
He also had monkeys running through the Prophet's mosque.
No, he had the thing, the horses, you know, the Prophet's
so
mosque was used as a staple.
This is a lot of information that I'm not knowledgeable about.
And
so
by the way, this is something
go back
and
to check the sources.
I respect that, but you know why I respect that? Is that if someone doesn't know, you don't turn around and say it's fabricated.
No, I can't say that.
A lot of the brothers here, Fabrication. Then you say Albani said to say, he goes, okay.
Yeah, no, I can't, I'm not going to stand there and lie.
They're not sincere in the approach. This is history.
Whoever lies upon me intentionally, then let him take his
place in the hellfire.
So I'm not going to come out here and say
it's true.
But
the
that's not the narrative that I've been taught.
Yeah,
so.
and of course you wouldn't. This is how the thing is. And also in terms of the Prophet's mosque, they tied the horses. They used the Prophet's mosque as a stable.
Okay.
Yazid's army used it because he said for 3 days you can do what you want. So generally this is Yazid's character. So Imam Hassan and Karbala is one thing, but if you want to know about Yazid's character and what he done, either one of these is enough to make him a kafir anyway. If no one wants to accept the Imam Hassan thing, even this is enough to make him a kafir. But
so alright, so what we're saying is him terrorizing the people of Medina
and saying for 3 days I'll make it halal and disrespecting the Prophet's shrine. Yeah.
He said, what does he say? I'll make halal. I'll make Medina halal for you.
Make it halal for you. Do whatever you want.
Do you know those ones?
Those ones.
Okay.
Jaiz, Mubah. Do anything, and that's why his soldiers raped. It's known in history. Tariq al-Khulafa, read that. Jalaluddin Suyuti, read that book. Yeah. It's in that book, by the way. All of these things that I'm mentioning is in that book.
Khalas, I'm gonna go home and read it.
Inshallah, my brother. If people had the adab and akhlaq of this brother, we'll get a lot further, innit? We'll get a lot further.
It's good to speak to you. Hold it, G.
Okay.
Hold it.
My brother.
It's cold.
Yeah, man.
I'm gonna get